Today is a classic example of why teams need to leave Texas to train for the baseball season. Where are they headed? Same place Jeff Wilson is, Arizona. We talk about it next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. It may have crossed your mind on Saturday when it was 88 degrees, like, why don't the Rangers just train here? And again, as we say, today is a classic reason why, although here's a little known fact that I didn't know until I moved out to Waxahachie, but several teams used to train in the early 1900s in Waxahachie, Texas, including my beloved Detroit Tigers. Ty Cobb actually trained in Waxahachie, Texas back in the day. A couple of the Ohio teams, I think both Cleveland and Cincinnati also trained there, and maybe the White Sox spent a little time there, but those were days gone by. Then Arizona was a vast wasteland, a desert. There was nothing in Arizona then.
Yeah, because Arizona, I don't believe, got statehood until 1913.
Right.
So, I wonder, though, was Waxahachie, I don't know, was it dry back then? Would Ty Cobb have brought his own booze? And
it's a heck of a question.
Would they have taken the train? Would he have taken the train from Georgia? And
probably
would they
did,
have gone
because
to Detroit. And
that's the whole thing with Waxahachie. There's like 3 train lines that kind of converge there. I think that's one of the reasons that city grew into be what it was in 1850.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. And we'll have to check on that dry thing. It's not dry now. I know that. Yeah, John Radigan
no
here.
No prohibition at the Radigan household.
Oh, God, no. John Radigan here with Jeff Wilson. We got the prophet Elijah Smith over there. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. We've got you. Rarity's already there and raring to go, as usual, for a Rangers season. We're going to get this thing started for real very soon, and we appreciate you being here with us always, and we appreciate you to like us and chat with us, and, of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to us. But Jeff wrote something today in our all DLLS website, and about basically the priorities, if you will, or sort of where we need to go, where the Rangers need to go during this spring portion of the 2025 season.
Yeah, I tried to think of some questions that are hanging over just the pitching staff, because this is just pitchers and catchers, and so and a lot of these we've touched on before. Jacob deGrom, how many innings is he going to be able to give the Rangers, and how many starts and all that stuff. But also, our Rocker and Leiter, could they both make this team? Who's going to close? What's up with what about John Gray? How deep is the bullpen? The bullpen, I really looked at it hard yesterday. It's deep, man. They've got
really deep.
They got a lot of guys who pitched a lot of meaningful innings for them last year who aren't going to make the team. That's just the way it is.
That's it. And we're going to go through a list of guys here in a second who will make the team or barely, or where will they be?
Yeah.
I mean, and there's some big surprise names on there that we'll get to. But I agree with you. You look at the depth of that thing and you're like, wow, what's going on here?
Yeah. For answer that, Natalie asked this question yesterday about Wyatt Langford, and we didn't answer it.
Oh, I feel bad about that.
And so Natalie, I think Langford is going to play almost exclusively left field. I think that they are going to try to figure out center without him over there. I think they want him just to go play left field and not worry about the defense. It's an option, I think. If Carter and or Tavares can't figure out lefties, then that's a possibility. But I think that to start the year, he is going to be the left fielder until they decide otherwise.
And from whom did we hear? Didn't we hear that Josh Smith would be an option out there?
Maybe. He can play all the outfield spots. I hope he's been working on it because he's really only known left field, I think, in the majors. Duran played a little center, but and I guess that would be a right-handed option, I mean.
Sure.
So I don't know, Natalie, but I think just the latest I've heard is that they just want Wyatt to play left and have it just worry about banking the ball at the ballpark.
Yeah, and look, their I guess sort of a perfect scenario there would be to have Evan Carter figure out lefties, right? And again, Leody Taveras too. Leody's had a big chance, a big opportunity to figure them out. 4 years, right?
Right.
And he just hasn't quite done it yet. So you're probably a little less bleak sort of in your hope that he's going to figure lefties out. But guys can learn, guys can grow, guys can change during the course of a season. He's still young in his career.
But they're allowed to get better.
They are indeed. But Carter is the one that I think in a perfect world, if healthy, which he appears to be, that the Rangers would say, figure out lefties, dude, and we'll put you out there every day, and Leody will be our backup in the outfield.
Yeah, that feels right. And Leody can play anywhere in the outfield and be fine and probably be really, really good at all three spots. So anyway, all right, bullpen depth. Yeah, very deep. I was looking at it, like I said, you're looking at 5 spots, probably sewn up the 5 new additions with big league experience, Armstrong, Garcia, Milner, Webb, and Chris Martin. All right. So then how many are you going to piggyback? Are you going to do the piggybacking situation? And if so, how many piggybacks do you want to have?
Right.
So do you want 2? If you're going to have DeGrom and Rocker in your rotation, do you think you should have 2 capable guys who can pitch a lot of innings one day a week and maybe a couple on their bullpen days? All right. So then that leaves 1 spot. 1 spot for 12 guys, let's say, trying to legitimately, who could legitimately say they have a chance. Mark Church. Dang, he's got a big arm. Jake Latz, who was really good for the Rangers for a lot of last season. Walt Pennington, who they got in the Michael Lorenzen trade, who was good down the stretch. Jesse Chavez in camp on a minor league roster. Daniel Robert, who's on the on the 40-man. So Cole Winn, 40-man. So a lot of guys I'm leaving out, but they have. The good news is that when they set up this bullpen, they know they're going to have guys who have minor league options available, so that they can call up these guys when needed. They're going to need after a 10-inning game when the starter only goes 3 innings and you go through 6 relievers, you're going to need a guy the next day. So that's why you need relievers with options. And a lot of these guys have options. Dane Dunning has options. Cody Bradford has options. Robert Garcia from the Nationals in the Nalo trade, he has options. So there are optionable pieces who can move up and down, whether it's no fault of their own or just a club need. So we'll see. That's a big mystery how they're going to figure that out. And I know that our buddy Benny, who is not in the chat yet, he on Twitter suggested that maybe you and I are being a little too aggressive on the need to limit starter innings. And I disagree. I think that, outside of Gray and Evaldi, Evaldi and then Gray, I think there are some serious questions about these guys and how much do you want to push them? And the rule is usually 10% on your innings total the prior year. I think that, obviously Rocker's going to get more than 10%, and DeGrom's going to get more than 10%. So what percentage do you backtrack from their career highs? DeGrom's been a 200-inning pitcher. Well, he hasn't done that since 2019. He hasn't cleared 100 innings since 2019. Rocker threw 120-something at Vanderbilt his last year. So where's your baseline? I don't know. I'm sure the Rangers have one, but I would be very surprised to see Rocker over 125 or 130. I just really don't know that that's I'm sure he could do it, but I think the Rangers are going to play the long game here and try to maximize the short. It's just a matter of figuring out how to do it.
Yeah, and so in the story today, you suggested at Jacob DeGrom, for example, you would see, he stated it, told us, he wants to have 30 starts this year. That's his goal. It's a lofty goal. It's a laudable goal. We love it. If he does, everybody will be happy.
Oh, yeah.
You suggest that 20 and to 25 is a more reasonable expectation, including the postseason. And so it begs the question then, how, right?
Yeah.
How do you monitor that, sort of regulate that, legislate, if you will, that through the season? Especially, I mean, you may know at some point, like it may look pretty clear you're going to make the postseason, but this is being called the most competitive division in baseball right now. So how do you know?
That's why Bruce Bochy and Mike Maddox and Chris Young and Ross Fenstermaker get the big bucks, and they'll be the ones who figure it out. They'll get feedback from Jacob. They'll see how he feels, but yeah, I don't think a 6-man rotation is the answer. I really don't, because you're still at that point you're taking a reliever away. When you add one to the rotation, you got to take one away from the bullpen. So I think that kind of defeats the purpose. Now, at times they may go to a 6-man rotation, like during their long stretches without a day off, drop a guy in there, whether it be calling somebody up from the minors to make a spot start. That's how Jack Leiter made his debut last year in May. They're in the middle of a long road trip, and so he got the nod there. But yeah, there are ways to, manipulate the rotation, like at the All-Star break. Let's say Jacob deGrom starts their 5th game before the All-Star break, and then doesn't start until the 5th game out of the All-Star break. Well, that's gives him basically 2 weeks off, and a chance to rest and do that. You can send guys to the minors. You can put guys on the injured list with injuries,
sure,
of some sort. So, and the Rangers know all the tricks. But they know their personnel too, and I am looking forward to seeing Jacob deGrom. I hope it's 30. Chris Young at the awards banquet said, we might get we're looking at Jacob deGrom for 25 starts, and the crowd went wild. I've had scouts say, man, just if he can get us 20, we're going to be in good shape. He's made only 9 starts for the Rangers in the 2 years, but they're 7-2. That's a 778 winning percentage. So if he makes 20 starts, they're winning 15 or 16 of those. Now, he may not get all those wins, but they're going to win those games. So you can, if he gets 27 starts, you can just kind of extrapolate it out, and they would win 21 of the 27. That's a big deal. And if he can be Jacob deGrom, man, what a I guess that's why they signed him,
Well, it is
to do this.
And it's like getting a free agent, right? It's more like getting a free agent than the free agent pitcher they got, who they had last year, right? I mean, it's really not like getting a free agent, although technically they did in Nathan Eovaldi. But because you didn't have Jacob deGrom for all but those 3 starts at the end of the year last year, that's like signing. It's as if he signed as a free agent this year, and that's just fantastic. Everybody, if this were the year he signed, forget what he'd done in the past, you'd be like, oh, wow, we got Jacob deGrom, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so that is sort of the level of excitement you need. I think, though, and I understand, Rangers fans are sort of cautiously optimistic about that joy, that excitement, because of what we've seen from him, right?
Yeah.
You had that excitement in 2023, and then in April there was disappointment.
Well, he comes out on opening day, kind of got roughed up a little bit. He said his adrenaline was up, and when his adrenaline gets up, he says he gets jumpy, which means his fastball climbs a little bit. All right, so that's his first start. They end up winning the game. He comes out the next week and pitches 6th inning and strikes out 11 Orioles. Yeah. So I mean, it was dominant stuff. And so it's very, very good. It's just, the fastball and the slider come out of the same tunnel. It's a late movement on the slider, so that's what keeps hitters guessing. And his changeup is a good pitch. He's not just a 2-pitch guy. So, and of course, and it's hard. It's 98, 99, 100, and he can carry it over multiple innings. It's just something that you don't see a lot of, even in today's increased velocity era. So that's the thing I'm most excited about. I've said it many, many times. I hope he's healthy as a baseball fan. Not as a Rangers beat writer, and somebody who gets to watch pretty much all of their games.
Sure.
I hope that this guy is good because I'm a baseball fan and I love good pitching.
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean, it's just so much fun to see a guy dominate, and that's exactly what we expect to see from Jacob deGrom this year. Coming up next, we want to talk a little bit about how these decisions are made during the course of spring training and which guys might be left out when they break camp in Arizona. They're just getting ready to open camp, and we're already talking about breaking camp, but we'll do that next on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
It's sleeper time, and you're not going to find a bigger supporter of the sleeper app than me. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
They do have the $100 first match deposit, or up to $100 they'll match on your first deposit if you use the code DLS Rangers. And if you have taken advantage of that and unfortunately have seen your money depleted, they have right now they have up to a $51 redeposit match. So not bad. Mrs. Wilson apparently has to redeposit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's not very good. I mean, she admits it. That's not just me saying it. She admits it. But sleeper, daily picks, it's fun. Last night, if you'd had the opportunity to fill one out, you could have done Luka Doncic more or less than 27.5 points in his Lakers debut. I thought it was an easy under because he wasn't going to play a full game, and sure enough, it was an under. Of course, I didn't play it, but that's what I was thinking. So anyway, DLS Rangers sleeper today.
Yeah, we think it's a wise choice. And I wonder if you get 151. Probably not.
No.
One's a redeposit. That's right.
Redeposit.
Okay. Hey, so we'd like to introduce you, if you haven't heard yet, about Saturday Neon. It's these neon signs that are so cool, and they are right now licensed with 50 different colleges and universities. So you could get your favorite college or university emblazoned in neon to put anywhere in your home, but it seems like a sports watching room, a media room, or a man cave might be the best options for those. But again, put them anywhere. You may have a bar in the house, and neon really looks cool in a bar, but it would look great anywhere. These are not like your old-fashioned neon. They are LED neon, and you can even have them custom made. They're cheap, too. They're not cheap, but they're inexpensive, and we want you to get one. So go to SaturdayNeon.com, use the code DLLS, and get 10% off at Saturday Neon. So you kind of ran through the list quickly, Jeff, of guys who might not break camp, right?
Yeah.
And look, basically, this list, again, goes right back to almost all pitchers. But before we do all pitchers, let's discuss one, because, again, the roster, the lineup and everything is almost set.
Yeah.
The two catchers, set, right? The third baseman, as long as Josh Young is healthy, set, right? Shortstop, second base, set. First base, set. We mentioned the three outfielders that, we kind of think will be there, fairly well set, plus Leote. You got your two utility players set, right? That would be Ezekiel Duran and Josh Smith.
Yeah.
And that's where I wonder if Zeke is a guy. I mean, so what we've seen is in 2 years, Ezekiel Duran got the bulk of the time, and again, earned it, played for it, but he got the bulk of the time when Seager got hurt in 23.
Yeah.
And had a great year.
Yeah.
And Josh Smith didn't have much of a year.
Yeah.
Last year, Josh, and everybody then thought that Zeke would get more time when Josh Young got hurt last year. But Josh Smith got more time, and he excelled, and Zeke regressed. So is it wise to have both of them here when only one of them can get that time?
It's a fair question, John, and it's going to be hard to get Josh Smith at bats. I mean, there's always there's the DH spot that Jock Peterson is probably going to take, right? So how is Josh Smith going to get his let's say 20 to 25 at bats a week? Right. Well, guys are going to have to be off, but Marcus Semien doesn't want to take days off. None of them want to take days off, really. So that's where what we were talking about earlier with him in center field. If neither of these, Carter or Tavares, can hit lefties, well, Josh Smith hit lefties really well last year.
Yes.
So do you do that? You'd be sacrificing defense, or you could play him in left field and move Langford over to center. So you got to figure out how to get at bats for one guy. Doing it for two is not easy. And so they're both young players. They really are. And young players need at bats. That's just the nature of the game. They don't have enough in their Rolodex, enough information to know how to stay sharp. And yeah, they can look at a guy like Travis Jankowski and look at his routine and all of that. But Travis Jankowski, A, has been a part-time player for a long time, and B, knows what to do. These guys don't know what to do without at bats. So it's going to be interesting to see. They both have options, and Josh Smith's not going to go to the minor leagues to start the season.
No way, not a silver slugger. Yeah.
I think Duran has that's a possibility. Maybe not to start the year, but early in the year if he's just sitting on the bench rotting away. So a good question. And but yeah, you kind of look at the roster like you said, and you're looking at the bench guys. All right, backup catcher, always one. The backup outfielder, either Tavares or Carter. All right, Josh Smith, who can play the outfield, so that allows them to just carry 4 true outfielders. So then, yeah, it's that one spot, and it's Duran. And it's like, man, do you want to put the young guy in that spot, or would you rather do an Alan Trejo or Nick Ahmed, who are in camp on minor league deals, who have big league experience, especially Ahmed. I don't know about Trejo as much. I know he's with the Rockies and didn't pan out with them. So it's that's something that the beat writers will get to eventually.
Sure. Yeah, that's not day one.
It's not day one, but it'll be up there because you're right. Everything's said except for that spot and who's going to be the closer and
and then which of these guys with pretty good major league experience aren't going to be around from the bullpen. Yeah, so those are some good questions. The one thing that when you mentioned it though crossed my mind, Travis Jankowski thought he was done last year in September, and he got a reprieve. Is he done? Have we heard
he hasn't signed
anywhere?
with anybody? There are just so many guys who haven't signed who probably should have big league contracts at this point and don't, or at least a minor league deal with a heavy possibility of making the club. I think that infielder Luis Guillorme signed with somebody today, the Reds. He's got a great chance to make their roster just because utility guy who knows how to get around and can play a lot of positions. So we'll see some signings like that, and the Rangers very well could be one of them. They really could be. They could. I mean, because they've done it recently. And you throw out 21 because 21 was coming out of the or 22 because it's coming out of the lockout right in the middle of spring training, so they hadn't had a full free agency. So you saw the Rangers make the Garver trade, sign Martin Perez real quick, and I think that was the year they brought in Matt Carpenter on a minor league deal, and so there were signings like that year. Well, that doesn't really count, but the next year they signed Robbie Grossman and Will Smith after camp had started, and they were on the playoff rosters for every series. And Will Smith was a critical first half piece. You look at what Robbie Grossman did that year; he was like 938 OPS against righties. Last year, Michael Lorenzen signed the day before camp broke. Okay, and he was a pretty handy player who you traded away and got a young, controllable reliever in Walt Pennington. So lots of possibilities. I mean, we just saw. We'll get to this later. Kenley Jansen signed today with the Angels. You're going to see a lot of guys sign now because they're getting antsy. All these guys that don't have deals yet, they want to get to a camp and know where they're going to have their seasons. And so I think a lot of guys will be signing here the next couple of days, the next week. But again, Will Smith didn't sign until March 1st, I think it was.
Right.
So that's pretty late in the game.
All right, so you mentioned him, so let's start with him. What does Walt Pennington have to do to make this club?
Well, he has to be able to go multiple innings, which he can do. He has to be able to pitch with his fastball, and that's the one thing that was a knock against him throughout his career. Really, is that his fastball is just kind of average at best, and but you still have to. He still needs to be able to pitch with it, and that was what Mike Maddox told him. They got Walt. He went to AAA. He came up real quick. They needed him. He was on the 40-man. And then subsequently, he went down pretty quickly. And when he went down with the instructions of when you go there and you pitch, you throw your fastball. We know your slider is really, really good, but you got to be able to command your fastball. So that's what he went and worked on. And this is a coachable coachable guy, a smart guy, obviously smart because he's from the great state of Colorado. I mean, went to the Colorado School of Mines, and I had a lot of friends who went to the School of Mines. You can't, in a second niece or something, you can't be dumb and go to the Colorado School of Mines. Yeah, it is a tough
Everybody
school.
there a geologist, are they?
Geology and engineering. Yeah. So you got to be a smarty pants. So, anyway, Walt has to be able to throw multiple innings, bounce back, and of course he's got to be good.
We still doing a lot of mining?
I don't know. I guess digging for oil.
Yeah,
one of my best friends growing up went there and got into the oil business.
Really?
Yeah.
Killing it now?
He had a pretty good run there for a while.
Yeah, I bet. All right. So here's a name. We talk about the 5 relievers all the time, but it's another player I believe acquired this year in the offseason that we don't talk about much, Luis Curvelo.
Yeah, he's never pitched above AA. So that's why I kind of exclude him from the new relievers, or why I might say 5 relievers with big league experience.
Yeah.
Basically, he was like a Rule 5 pick. He became a free agent, a minor league free agent. He got a big league deal. It's basically the equivalent of a Rule 5 guy, except he can be optioned. He doesn't have to stay on the roster. So they like the arm. They saw him a lot in Frisco. Frisco saw him a lot because he pitched for the Mariners AA affiliate, who I think is Arkansas. So anyway, well, we definitely, guy on the 40-man roster, you got a really good chance of seeing him if he's good.
Yeah.
But it's big arm power stuff, and he closed some games. So we'll see about old Luis.
And you mentioned him in the first segment, Jacob Latz.
Yeah.
There's a guy who had some real experience last year.
Sure, and he
looked good.
He can definitely do multiple innings because he came up as a starter. Good stuff from the left side. Fastball 95, 96. Nice breaking pitch. So he in basically May to June was a guy they really leaned on. He pitched a lot of big innings for him, and he ended up getting hurt later in the year. Never made it back on the mound. I think that at that point they're out of roster spot, and there's no real need for him to come and pitch. A good guy, lives in the area. Interesting backstory with his college experience and all of that, and the injuries, and but he's healthy and he's good. He's a good guy to have.
We've talked about this guy a lot as a potential big time future with the team. But is there any way Mark Church breaks camp with the big league team?
I'm big on Mark Church, almost as big as I am Blaine Krim. So I'm a big Mark Church guy. You saw what he did at the end of last year, when he came up and just blew away the Angels. And it's power stuff. It's a big fastball, power slider. He's added in the Arizona Fall League. He added a split-fingered pitch that he said was fantastic. So I think he has a chance to make the team. I think he has a chance to ultimately pitch in the high leverage situations. Sure. They don't want to force him in there because he has like 1 career inning or 2 career innings, but Mark Church can flat pitch. And I think that, I'll end up here before too long doing a, opening day roster projection, and Mark Church is going to be in my bullpen.
Wow. Okay, good. Yep. Good to hear. See if that really happens. It'll be fun to watch. Someone asked in the chat a few days ago sort of who our big breakout guy was going to be at spring training, and my guy is Jesse Chavez. But he's also got a really good chance of being on the outside looking in.
He does.
But what does he do in camp? I guess he just comes in and uses his experience to the best of his ability.
Yeah, he doesn't get outs the traditional way anymore. His fastball's 89 to 91. He pitches to contact. And the thing is, they don't make good contact against him. Even at his advanced age of 40, you look at his numbers last year with the Braves, they were really, really good for a contending club. It's not like he was pitching for the A's. He was pitching for a good team. So a guy who the Rangers love, the ultimate teammate. So they like that makeup component. And if they feel like he's the veteran they need, somebody to shore up the young guys and all of that, then Jesse Chavez has a chance. But he's not on the 40-man roster, which makes it tough.
Sure.
So he has to win a spot, and he may pitch so well that another team comes and swoops him.
Sure.
Up, and the Rangers wouldn't stand in his way.
All right, one final one real quickly. Would Jack Leiter be better served not to make the club and to go pitch at AAA?
I don't know. I think that anytime, I mean, guys want to be in the majors, obviously.
Sure,
so I
of
think
course.
from that perspective, it would do him some good between the ears. He has a chance to pitch as a piggyback type of guy, get some meaningful innings in relief of whoever it is who they feel like is short on innings, maybe Tyler Malley, let's say. But I think that for now, I really think it's bullpen or AAA. And Chris Young was in here saying, yeah, Jack Leiter's gonna give us some really meaningful innings.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not to start the year, but throughout the year, he could definitely be needed. I think he was the first starter they called up last year.
Yeah. And CY's repeatedly said the plan is for Jack Leiter to be a part of the major league roster, right, and be in break camp with the major league club. So some of the interesting things that we'll be watching very closely throughout spring training. More coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast as we get to the promotional schedule. It is out. We're going to talk about our favorite bobblehead that's coming and or some of the other promotional days. That'll be fun. It's next. DLLS Rangers podcast. But first we talk.
I've got some Rugged Road action.
About Rugged Road. Yes,
Yeah.
You got it. Okay.
I had to check my reservation to my Airbnb. It does come with a refrigerator, which is
Okay.
nice. But if it hadn't, I would have loved to have had a Rugged Road
Sure.
in my room to keep things cold up to 7 days. I would keep ice in that stuff. But, basically all I need in the room is some water, maybe some Powerade, or Gatorade,
Not
whatever
gonna do much
sport
cooking.
drink of your choice. I'm not going to do much cooking. I might get some milk for some cereal in the mornings, but Rugged Road, for those of you who are watching the show maybe for the first time, durable, lightweight, floatable coolers, perfect for the outdoorsman in you or the parent who's going to every dang sports complex in the area chasing baseball and softball with your kids. And it's definitely on the Wilson's list. So go to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use the code DLLS for 10% off.
Yep, that's a great idea, as is Game Time.
Game Time.
Yeah, we all love Game Time. It is it's a great app to get tickets to virtually anything. Jeff had been monitoring last night's Mavs game, and tickets got as low as $10. Is that
$10.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so the point on that is you can save up to 60% off the price of tickets if you wait until the last minute to buy them. You don't necessarily want to do that, but it's an option if all of a sudden you find yourself free on a night that your favorite concert is coming to town, or you decide, you know what, let's get over and check out the Mavs or the Stars or a show over here at the Meyerson or over at the Fair Park at the Music Hall. So many different things are available to you via Game Time, and you can save lots and lots of money if you use it properly. So go to GameTime.com, use the code DLLS, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. I'm telling you, we're nailing the 2-minute time on that.
We're really
deal,
doing good. It's like we've been doing it for a while.
But look at even the prophets over there smiling at us.
I'm going to have to run a timer, though, here out of town,
Oh, heck of a point.
Yeah.
I'd rather not read all the ads when you're gone. So
I know. And I want to help out. So we'll figure it out. Hey, let's before we get to the promo schedule, let's answer questions.
Let's go. Run through.
Okay. How about some 6-man rotation questions have popped up, including Rangers Nation 12 asking me if I will press Boch into using a 6-man rotation. I'm not going to press him to do anything.
And there's no pressing Boch anyway.
I think it's going to come up. I think it's probably come up. And like I said, I think at certain times during the year they will use a 6-man rotation, but I don't think that it's going to be 6-man all the time. And one large scoop of love: has a 6-man rotation been used anywhere and been successful? The Angels did it with Ohtani, but it wasn't successful, obviously, because the Angels are the Angels. But it's all that you have in the minor leagues right now. And so I think that if you're a young team and you're counting on guys who are coming up from the minors, then a 6-man rotation is not a bad way to go. But I think with what the contracts are for starting pitchers these days, you got Jacob deGrom making $40 million this year, right? You don't want him starting every 6th or 7th day. You got to try to maximize the value of that contract such that it is. So I don't think 6-man rotations are coming this season. Maybe down the road it happens, but I think that these guys will stick with a 5-man rotation despite our concerns about their innings shortfall.
And in fact, I fear still because the success that teams have had with that, again, the Tigers called it chaos, the Dodgers used it, but I fear you could see us going to, trending more toward a 4-man rotation and then a day where you just kind of throw it to the bullpen. Yeah, and Major League Baseball is absolutely trying to regulate that. They would like to make sure that you have to use starting pitchers, right? And
right. I mean, that's something we talked about way back
early in the offseason.
Yeah, and really even going into stretching back into last season. Max Scherzer is a big proponent of getting starting pitchers their importance back in the game, and the 5 innings or 6 innings, and trying to reduce all that reliever usage. I think you could try it in the regular season, but the postseason, I think all bets are off in a short series. You just try to win it. All right, so Brett C., will Evan Carter start the season at AAA since he was hurt last year? No, I don't think they're concerned about his lack of development last year. We asked Ross Fenstermaker, are there any concerns about that? He said Evan's so smart that they're not too concerned about it. I asked Evan about it, I don't know, at that Josh Young wiffle ball event, and he was like, I didn't play, but I watched the games. I was around the team. So while I wasn't on the field developing, I was seeing things and learning things about what I was seeing. So he's not concerned about it either. So if they're not concerned, I don't know if we should be concerned.
No, and at this level especially, baseball becomes more and more cerebral, right? Mm-hmm. The farther you go in this game. And it's such a cerebral game that you not only need to sit there and watch it, but what Evan Carter was doing was talking it with his veteran teammates, right? Sure. And that is where the learning really comes in. And there are so many guys on this team who will, all of them really will share that information with you. I mean, you go back to the World Series or the ALCS in 2023, and Evan talked about that great play he made in left field at Minute Maid Park. Well, and he knew how to do it because I know Robbie was one of them. Might have been Travis that took him out to left field and said, "Here's how you play this ball. Here's how you play that ball." Yeah. Right? I mean, those are the things he's learning. And I thought whenever you hear a manager or a general manager, in the case of Ross Fenstermaker, talk about a guy's whatever sport, name the sport, in this case, baseball IQ. Mm-hmm. I love that. Right. Yeah, right. Some guys are so good they don't need an IQ. Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's 22 and in the majors.
Yeah. So he's got baseball smarts.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
Steve Cook, my fantasy baseball pal, love to see the Rangers sign J.D. Martinez, to which Ethan responded, I guess if Jock doesn't play versus lefty SP, you can sign J.D. Martinez. I don't think it's likely. I agree with you there, Ethan. You can't have two guys like that on your roster. You can't have two. DH is a hell of a place to have to platoon, because if that's all they do, you're really limiting your bench flexibility and roster versatility. And Bruce Bochy will use his bench, and so he needs to have some versatile dudes down there.
You don't face enough left-handed pitchers to have a specialist that way. Right?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Jock Peterson got over 400 at bats last year as a guy, and now he did end up facing some lefties, but a very small amount. So you're right. In this division, I'm trying to think off the top of my head if it's lefty heavy, and gosh, the Astros have Framber.
Of course,
I don't know who. The A's have that Sears guy. I don't think the Mariners have any lefties.
And that great rotation. The Rangers, look, if Cody Bradford doesn't wind up being a starter, the Rangers won't have any left.
And the Angels don't have Pablo Sandoval anymore, or not Pablo Sandoval. Sorry, the Sandoval kid with the great changeup. They don't have him anymore. So Patrick. So maybe it's not as much of a need. I don't know if Tyler Anderson's still on that team or not, but I think that's a pretty good point you made there, John. Any other questions we missed? I don't think so yet. Ethan's still pimping Craig Kimbrell. All right, well, maybe,
yeah, we'll talk next segment about the
Jose
Kenley
on
Jansen
the John Gray closing out games rumor. That I don't think it happens. We've talked about it all spring, all off season, and the Rangers have been talking about it since October. They keep going back to it, but I think just based on what we've heard lately, the need is still with the innings.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's just that was another thing mentioned heavily, and make sure you check out Jeff's article if you're not a diehard. We'll tell you how to be one here pretty quick, but make sure you check that out because it's one of the things that drew attention. Understandably, it's a good question because it drew attention in Jeff's article. Let's talk about the promotional schedule that has been released, and all through the season, as you know, there are promotions to attract you to games. Often they're games that you might not otherwise be attracted to, but in some cases, they're games you absolutely want to go to, like on the day that Elvis has his number is entered into the Hall of Fame. There is an Elvis Andrus. What is it? Where is that date, Jeff? June 28th.
June 28th.
Right? Let's see.
My anniversary.
June 28th. You get yourself, the first 15,000 fans, 18 and older, get an Elvis Andrus retirement bobblehead. And then just a couple of weeks later, there is the day that we honor the statue of one.
August 22nd.
August 22nd. Adrian. Okay, no, it must be the 23rd, right? Or is it the 22nd?
It's definitely a Friday, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, but the 23rd is the day you get the replica statue.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And Jeff and I looked through the list, and my favorite bobblehead, and the Rangers are not going to be shy about remembering the World Series that was 2023. Sure. It'll be commemorated again throughout the course of this season, and on May 27th, I'll make sure that I'm there, or actually maybe the 26th. We usually get a promotional copy of these things the day before.
Yeah, but they've been doing it the day of lately, which kind of defeats the purpose of
promoting
them.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll promote it now. The Bruce Bochy Parade bobblehead. So it's Boch sitting in a car, a convertible, up on the back, kind of waving at the fans, and it's a bobblehead. That's a good one.
Yeah, and the head's to scale on that one, as it turns out.
Tips over.
I like the always on opening day you get the magnetic.
Me too.
Schedule, and that's a big player in the Wilson household. So
always
I like
on the
one.
Fridge. Yep.
Yeah, and then I liked the I told you about the Josh Young baseball card bobblehead.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty interesting one, but I think I like the just having seen it, the Wyatt Langford cycle bobblehead because he's on a bike.
Yeah,
he
it's
hit
cool
for the cycle
too.
last year at Baltimore, capped it off the Grand Slam. That is May 12th, and it's against the Rockies. So you're not going to get a big crowd on that day. But May 12th, my nephew Logan's birthday, Wyatt Langford cycle bobblehead. So that's the one I'm
different kind of cycle, but I like the play on words. And by the way, the first 30,000 fans get the magnetic schedule on opening day. And I think one year I got 30,000 of them. I mean, it's like they print more than 30,000 of those. I had so many one year. I don't know what happened that year. A couple of the other cool ones that I saw. Well, that Adrian one, again, we don't know what the statue is going to look like, but we assume it'll be Adrian on one knee.
That's our assumption.
Yeah. So to me, August 23rd is definitely a day that you want to get yourself to the ballpark. I mean, I think that's
and they are doing a Josh Young World Series ring, which replica. To your point, remembering the 23 team, and that was those days last season. The replica ring days were huge.
Yeah, lines around the building beforehand, and at the first batch of the rings, I think they were only giving away like the 15,000.
Yeah,
they upped it. They doubled it, I believe. are close.
And then and then there's a final out World Series bobblehead. So
coming this year too, which of course is obviously Josh Sborz throwing the
or
glove.
maybe it's a hug or a team,
it could be a little more
something.
team oriented. I think a Sborz throwing the glove down would be a pretty cool bobblehead. Also on July the 18th, there's a Texas Rangers pickleball paddle.
Oh yeah. You know, the Wilsons we're not crazy about pickleball, but my wife likes to play. She has her own racket.
And you don't.
I don't, so I'm going to get me a pickleball racket and get out there and go after it.
Late August, we'll be getting ready for hockey season. There's a hockey jersey. There's going to be a Josh Peterson replica jersey. And maybe Prophet can tell me, or we'll check with Abs later. There's a Sugar Skull bobblehead.
Not sure.
Anybody?
Yeah, not sure.
Nobody.
And then they have the theme nights that there are required a special ticket purchase for that. They have some of those, including Whataburger night, which we think is Jake Burger.
It's got to be. Yeah, got to be a Jake Burger, Whataburger. So anyway, it'll be fun. It's always fun. Those nights are some that you can circle on your calendar. So more coming up as we get to our cleanup segment. Man, this time flies when you're having fun. And we're there. We're at the cleanup segment next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Let's let Jeff do the diehard today because he's got the big news, and I've got this just neon bright.
Yeah,
this is like a billboard, man.
So
so cool.
It is good. We got a special right now for our to become a diehard. $48. All right, that's $4 a month. You get a free shirt, valued at $35. So basically $13 to be a diehard, and you're not going to find a better value. Not just in this market, but really any market that covers professional sports the way we do. It's not just access to my stuff behind the paywall. Stars, Mavs, Cowboys. Tim Cato, who I just saw walk through here, has been working his ass off on all this Lucas stuff, doing a great job. And if you are still riled up about it and want to get even more riled up, read some of Tim's stories. But you got to be a diehard to do it. So go to alldlls.com and become a diehard member today.
Very wise choice if you do that. And you could get yourself this billboard of a shirt right here, which is really a great one. But you can get any one of the shirts that we have available. They're flying off the shelves as we continue to grow and continue to get bigger and bigger. So make sure you go to store.allcitynetwork.com and get yourself a shirt or get yourself a hoodie. That we've still got some cold days coming up. I think the better part of this week remaining going to be a little bit chilly. So get yourself a hoodie, or there's other things available too. There's some shot glasses. There's, I think, coffee mugs. There's those types of things that you may want to, sort of highlight the fact that you're a fan of the DLLS Sports Network, where we cover Cowboys, we cover Stars, we cover Rangers, and of course, we cover Mavericks and all that's going on over there. So store.allcitynetwork.com is the place to go to get yourself some merchandise and say, we like DLLS, because we do.
I packed for the trip.
Yeah.
And I got both of my sweatshirts because, as I've warned, it's chilly in the morning, in Arizona. Yeah. So I've got both of those packed. I think I kind of went conservative on the T-shirts. I think I only packed somewhere in the 4 to 6 range.
Okay.
I'm not wearing one today. I'm wearing a Pabst Blue Ribbon T-shirt.
Okay. In honor of Anthony Andro.
Yeah, excuse my burp there. Speaking of Pabst, but yeah, so good stuff. All packed, ready to go. And my flight, I just got the 4-hour warning from American Airlines, and hopefully I'm on the upgrade list. So hopefully I get an upgrade, but if not, that's fine. I've got an exit row, I think.
Okay, good. Yeah, you got a little leg room. So we mentioned it earlier in the show. Kenley Jansen signs with the Angels. So, all those people clamoring for him throughout the course of the past couple of weeks. Again, we've talked about it multiple times, and we didn't think it was a terrible idea. We didn't think it was, something we thought the Rangers would do. And, Jeff, when you see how much he signed for, we realize that the Rangers probably didn't do it because they are so close to the collective bargaining tax, the luxury tax.
Yeah, 1 year, $10 million from the Angels. I would think that if they did have the money, that means they didn't like him. he is older. He's what I saw 30 saves away from Lee Smith, third all time in saves. Lee Smith's in the Hall of Fame. You think Kenley Jansen's got Hall of Fame caliber numbers for closer. So this is a guy that can still get the job done. He blew 6 last year, I think it was, with the Red Sox. He was hurt a little bit. Fastball velocity was down. So I don't know what the Rangers were looking at. Maybe they loved him and were like, we just can't do it because we're so close to the CBT. Or maybe they're like, there are better options out there. I don't know what the swing and miss looks like, things like that. And the Rangers prioritize certain things in their pitchers analytics wise when they look at them. So maybe he didn't make the cut, or maybe he did, and again they didn't have the money. So to stay on the closer theme, Natalie, who do you think the closer will be, or will it be more closer by committee? I think Bruce Bochy likes to have a guy. I think based on what the Rangers have now and what he has said, he would go with the most experienced hand, who is Chris Martin. So we'll see. So I'll just go with what the manager said last month, Chris Martin.
Yeah, that's the guy who's probably going to at least get the first opportunity, and then you see how it evolves from there. And there's, especially in this case, since none of them have he's got the most saves in his career out of all the guys in that bullpen. He's got 15 in his career. So it'll be an evolution almost certainly in that situation. So and the Jansen thing does though strengthen another team in the division potentially. And it's a relatively cheap price, and I think I said collective bargaining. It's competitive balance tax is the thing we're talking about, but which
comes out of the collective bargaining agreement. So
eventually, it's kind of big
there's
picture,
the tie,
big picture CBT. But anyway, you get it. But the Angels got better today. Yeah.
They did, and they need to get a lot better.
Yeah, they
they got some work to do.
Still got a little work to do.
I think he eventually gets. I think this is a signing kind of like when the Royals signed Aroldis Chapman a couple of years ago, and then flipped him to the Rangers for now a Cy Young guy.
Yeah,
I think the Angels will be looking to do that with Kenley in July. I think that Kenley will be finding a new team.
I think Heyman and Morosi are both reporting that Alex Bregman will sign, like basically in time to get to training camp or spring training. And there's 3 teams, the Astros not being one of them.
Oh,
yeah. It's the Cubs, it's the Tigers, it's the Red Sox. The word from Chicago, though, is, and they become less likely. The word from them is it would be a Cody Bellinger type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And Bregman in this case has said, I'm not taking that kind of deal.
Yeah, again, I think it was $3.82 last year for Bellinger with an opt-out after the first year. He ends up getting traded to the Yankees, so didn't exercise that. But I just think the Red Sox make way too much sense.
No, they really do. Like we talked about yesterday with that short porch and left and that right-handed bat.
And they've talked about moving Devers to first base. So it's just like seems like they've just been waiting for this moment for 4 months.
Why? We'll ask eventually, or somebody will who's at that press conference, if that's what happens. It could be the Tigers. Again, I think the biggest straw there and the decision, I suppose, that is being made by the Bregman camp is that reuniting of A.J. Hinch and Alex Bregman, I think, is the biggest straw for Bregman in that case.
Yeah. And I assume they're on good terms, but with the way everything went down with the trash can stuff, the players were exempted from punishment. A.J. Hinch was not exempted from punishment, and he said in his testimony that he knew what was going on, he hated it, and he hit the TV, and he basically admitted it was happening, and that was an advantage. Whereas the players, including Bregman, have said, "Nah, don't know what you're talking about. Was not an advantage." Blah blah blah. So maybe there's some, I don't want to say tension there, but the manager in Boston is Alex Cora. Well, he was the bench coach during all of that. So there are just a lot of ties all around with those two teams. If I'm the Red Sox, I would have signed him a long time ago.
Yeah.
He will lead the league in doubles if he plays for the Red Sox. That's my bold prediction.
Maybe Cora's saying, don't sign that sorry SOB. He threw me under the bus. Everybody else wants him, except the manager. No, who knows? There is stuff that goes on, though, believe us. Ohtani on the mound. Do we have video over there, Prophet? Yeah.
Good.
Let's just show a little shot of Ohtani. The field today. Oh, yeah. I think, was that Ohtani arrived?
That was Ohtani.
Yeah. Was Ohtani or was that
Sasaki?
That was
Ohtani.
It was, okay. Because I saw video of Sasaki arriving today, too.
Oh, exciting.
In any event, today's the day they hit the field. The Ohtani video of him on the mound was from yesterday. And he was just out there, loosening up.
Did he grab his elbow?
He did not grab his elbow. And he was on he was on a mound, and that was the first we'd seen.
Yeah.
I think the word was it was the first the Dodgers had shown it, but that maybe somebody had snuck a picture of him on the mound. In any event, the fact that he's on a mound is huge. That's a big step for a guy coming back from this type of surgery.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because they're expecting him back in the rotation in May, so he's going to have to make some rehab starts.
Sure.
So how are they going to manage that? Because obviously they want him to hit every day because he's one of the best hitters in baseball. Are they going to do it on off days? Are there enough off days to keep him sharp and getting the mound exposure he needs? Will he be pitching sim games on days when he is also needed in the lineup? That's kind of an interesting storyline to see how they'll manage
Where's
that.
Their AAA?
Their AAA is Oklahoma City.
That's what I thought.
Okay. They have an A affiliate in California, so that might and then Tulsa is their AA affiliate. So maybe that's maybe they just keep him close to home where he can drive and get back. I don't know. Maybe they have a day game. One of those day games where they just pack the stands with kids from the local elementary schools and they go out and watch Shohei Ohtani pitch a day game, and then he drives back to Dodger Stadium and hits that night. Ethan's all over these promos. Dodgers giving away a Luka Doncic bobblehead this year. All right, well, good for the Dodgers. I'd be interested in that.
Oh yeah,
sure,
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. I haven't looked yet. Speaking of store.allcitynetwork.com, I got to go see if that Luka shirt is still available.
Well,
that we were either just releasing or had released at the time that trade went down.
Well, I'm sure we'll try to sell a bunch of them, and then we'll give them to starving kids in Ethiopia.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
However big that batch was, you'll see some kids over there wearing them, sporting those
big
shirts.
Luka fans in Eastern Europe.
Huge. So one other thing in the
Eastern
cleanup
Africa.
segment.
Did I say Europe? Well,
yeah,
there are a lot of Luka fans in Eastern
huge
Europe.
in Eastern Europe. Yeah. One other thing, the Hall of Fame guys have selected their hats, but I didn't recognize or remember this since 2001. I think I had the year right. The Hall selects for you.
Yeah.
Because when Wade Boggs went in, Tampa Bay, and he played there, but Tampa Bay offered him like a huge sum of money to wear a Tampa Bay hat on his plaque. And he's a Red Sox. I mean,
I think they have heavy say in it. But ultimately, I think it's up to the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the player has say, but ultimately the Hall of Fame. And look, the reality is, and again, Nolan, bounced around a lot of different places, but, he signed a personal services contract with the Rangers at the end of his career. And in part, they wanted to ensure that he would go into the Hall of Fame as a Ranger.
Yeah, and, he had his last two no-hitters and his 5,000 strikeouts, so it was a big career
300th
achievements, 300th win, right? So, okay, but I don't think Greg Maddux has a logo.
Is that right?
Yeah. Who do you think of him?
I think of him as a Brave.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately Cubs, Braves. I know he played for the Padres and Dodgers there at the end, but he doesn't have a logo. So I think
interesting.
I think obviously the Hall kind of was like, all right, well, we'll side with you on that one. So I don't know, but anyway, yeah, Dave Parker, Pirates.
Yep.
But he had a great couple seasons with the Reds, and I think he won a World Series late with the A's. So there's some But he won a World Series with the Pirates, too.
You know, the other one that's really not that controversial, CC, who had great years with Cleveland, 1 year with Milwaukee, but most of his career was with the Yankees.
Right.
And he'll
he won a Cy Young with the Indians.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And they were the Indians
They
there,
were the
so
Indians,
don't give me the Guardians credit.
Billy Wagner had good years. I think, with Philly and
the Mets.
And the Mets.
He had a great season with the Braves, but, he's going with the Astros.
He's an Astro. Yeah.
Dick Allen with the Phillies. So they all get touching them all. So that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. And that's the show. And the next time you see us will be at 2 o'clock tomorrow. When
2 o'clock.
Jeff will join us live from Surprise, Arizona, and I'll be here in studio, and we will have everything that you need to know about the day that the pitchers and catchers hit the field. They report today. They hit the field tomorrow. We're there and all over it for you on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.